All right, now to put things in perspective in terms of how things are unfolding at this moment in the Ukrainian war theatre, we're joined on this broadcast by Professor Peter Kuznick, who is a professor of history and director of the Nuclear Studies Institute at the American University, and is joining us live on this broadcast. Now, Professor Kuznick, the fact that this attack that was carried out by Russians is reportedly as a revenge for the Ukrainians using Western missiles to strike at a Russian chemical plant earlier in the week. It appears from the reports that are coming in that some of the embassies in Kyiv have also sustained damage. What is your reading into this attack in Kyiv, in which even some of these foreign embassies have sustained damage?
Russia is sending a message, a very, very clear message. Don't use those U.S., British, and French long-range missiles to attack inside Russia. I mean, Russia has, for the most part, avoided hitting Kyiv and hitting population centers. They've been trying to target the infrastructure, the energy infrastructure, and strategic targets, military targets. But they are very, very capable, as we know. Those of us who have studied strategic bombing in World War II, or what the U.S. did in Vietnam, or in Iraq, or Afghanistan, know how devastating attacks on urban populations can be. And so far, the Russians have, with some exceptions, downplayed that, but they are very, very serious about these long-range missiles that are being used. And the other thing we know is that they lowered their nuclear doctrine recently to say that countries that are complicit with Ukraine, nuclear powers complicit with Ukraine in using these attack M's and Storm Shadow and Scalp missiles inside Russia are also potential targets.
Right.
So this just gets more and more dangerous every day that this war continues.
Now, yesterday when Vladimir Putin in fact addressed the nation, he said that politics is the art of compromise. He's willing for talks without any preconditions. But the conditions that the Russians want are fairly clear, that they want to keep the annexed territories. That's about 20% of the Ukrainian territory that they've captured. They want Ukraine to be demilitarized, and they also want Ukraine not to be a part of the NATO military alliance. Do you think the Trump administration that is taking charge in the month of January would agree to terms such as this? Because if it did, then that would be tantamount to surrender.
I think that Trump might be willing to do that. We're not going to know what Putin says. He's open to compromise with Trump. We don't know what that means. That's why it's so important to begin negotiations. Maybe Russia will settle for the territory it now controls rather than the entirety of those 4 regions that it says it's annexed. That would be more of a compromise. But yes, I mean, the reality on the battlefield is that Russia is winning. Russia has Ukraine outmanned, outgunned, outmaneuvered at this point. They're very, very close to taking Pokrovsk. They're gaining more and more territory by the day, and all we see are more and more casualties by the day. So for Ukraine to continue this war makes no sense, because its position gets worse and worse every day this goes on. So we need to sit down and negotiate. It has to end.
All right. Thank you very much indeed, Professor Kuznick, for joining us with that perspective there.
My pleasure.
For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.